get started. And if we can get everybody to stand, we're going to have Mayor Pro Tem Mason lead us in the invocation.
Father God, we just give you thanks and praise for a gorgeous, gorgeous day. Father, we ask for your guidance and for your discernment as we make decisions. And Father, we just lift up this community of Muleshoe up to you, Father God. Thank you for the blessings that you bestowed upon each family member and just the entire city. And Father, may we always remember that our focus is on you and that you are there for us no matter what. We ask you to guide each one of us and protect the men and women who are fighting for our freedom every single day. We ask that you protect them and keep them in under your arms. And we ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Let the record show that we have a forum tonight. We'll call the meeting to order. And Councilman Ellis will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may all be seated. As it is at this time in our meeting, we're always excited to welcome visitors and receive public comment. We're glad that everybody's here tonight. Mr. Thornton, we're glad you made it. Bill, we're glad you're here. Mr. Kirby, it's nice to have you, and we will look forward to hearing from you here in a few more minutes. And we're glad the staff's all here. Slater, glad you could make it. Thank you. Good to see you. So is there anybody in the audience who would like to make any public comment at this time? If not, we'll just go ahead and get started with our agenda. The first thing that we're going to do is to receive any public participation and grant them an opportunity concerning our 2012 drinking water quality report. And since we don't have any guests tonight, we don't have any of the public here, I guess we'll just talk about how good the drinking water is here and see it. Ramon, do you have any comments you'd like to make?
So that report was mailed to every water customer that we have. We do that annually. Basically what the water report says is 7 pages, so our water is plenty safe to drink.
That's right.
It's really good.
It's good.
Yeah, I made that comment earlier to say they don't make this easy to read, but I appreciate all the efforts that you and your staff make and testing everything, making sure everything's run correctly, so we appreciate all of that.
Thank you. Okay. We will move on to the approval of the minutes of the council meeting of June 10th of this year. Trust everybody has reviewed those minutes, and I'll make a motion that we approve them.
Second.
Do we have a second? Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor of approving those minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carries. The next thing we would like to do is to consider a request from the Muleshoe Youth Baseball Incorporated for Hotel Motel tax funds for the Rookie All-Star Invitational Tournament and the Minor State All-Star Tournament. And I'm going to turn the floor over to Mr. Kirby. I think he has a presentation for us.
For you all that don't know me, I'm Rhett Kirby. I'm the treasurer for Muleshoe Youth Baseball and the vice president-elect for the upcoming year. I want to thank David for his time. I know he and I have exchanged quite a few emails about Muleshoe Youth Baseball in a lot of different ways, and I think it kind of boiled down to the hotel. The hot funds may be an avenue for us to recoup some of the expenses that we accrue in hosting some of our tournaments. But who is Muleshoe Youth Baseball Incorporated? Muleshoe Youth Baseball Incorporated was a name that I wasn't real familiar with, and there's Cal Ripken Baseball, Roger Miller Park. I just kind of wanted to clarify as to who Muleshoe Youth Baseball Incorporated is. Well, first and foremost, Muleshoe Youth Baseball is Muleshoe's youth baseball and softball organization. We charter about 400 boys and girls between the ages of 4 and 16 to play baseball or softball. Muleshoe Youth Baseball Incorporated was chartered in 1983 with 13 founding members. We are a nonprofit 501c3 organization. We are the owners of 7+ acres of land known as Roger Miller Baseball Field. We currently have 10 board members that are responsible for administering the daily financial activities of the league. We mow the fields, we spray the fields, we water the fields, we fertilize the fields, we prepare the fields for play, we pick up trash, and we empty trash barrels. And all of that work is pretty well done by 10 adults. And I'm sure most of you all have been in the position that I'm in now, in that there's a lot of work that goes on by a few very dedicated parents. And we as a group, we have a really strong board. I feel like we have an opportunity to work with the city in multiple ways, and I know we work with Ramon and David in the electricity and in the water, and I know we borrowed a sprinkler that's been really helpful this year in establishing some grass outside of the field areas, so we appreciate that. And we as a board look forward to continuing to foster that relationship between Muleshoe Youth Baseball and the city. And there would be more people here representing Muleshoe Youth Baseball, but they are those 10 that are representing or hosting the state tournament that's currently going on. So those guys are working the gates, preparing the fields, doing all of those things as we speak. I know the first game starts at 6 o'clock tonight, so they regret not being able to be here with me tonight. So far this year, we've hosted or are hosting 4 tournaments. The Rookie All-Star Invitational Tournament, which consisted of 8 teams, including Muleshoe, and roughly 3 of those stayed overnight. We had Dumas and Andrews and Dimmer City. Those were the 3 that drove the furthest and stayed some in our local hotels. Babe Ruth All-Star Tournament, the Softball Invitational Tournament. I don't have good data on those 2 tournaments as to if anybody did stay. That is something that I have begun this year to try to ask these teams as they come to play, is what were their plans for staying. And I know when it's Dumas and Andrews and Denver City, those guys are here to stay and want to utilize Muleshoe in the hotels that we have. And the minor state tournament is the tournament that's currently going on. That is, we were actually pretty fortunate to be able to host that state tournament. 11 teams all throughout the Panhandle. I know Dumas is here, Andrews is here. In fact, I think later in the presentation I'll show you a list of the teams that are here to participate in this tournament.
May I ask what you did to get to have the minor state all-star tournament here?
Sure. That process takes place beginning in about January, and representatives from our board go attend a district meeting of other organizations similar to Muleshoe Youth Baseball. And it's pretty well a volunteer type thing. And we actually volunteered to host a district tournament, which is a smaller, more localized tournament. But we weren't lucky enough to have that. But later, we were fortunate enough to have the state tournament come, which has actually ended up in our favor anyway. I mean, we were hoping for at least a district tournament, but ended up we got a state tournament, so which was even better. So, and that's something that we're going to continue to do is to try to solicit Muleshoe to host these types of tournaments.
Thank you.
Other activities that we've started this year, we worked with Coach Cole in having a Muleshoe Youth Baseball as an entity. We essentially funded the cost of the camp to kids. If they wanted a shirt, they could buy a shirt for $10. But our thought process behind this was as a league, as an organization, let's give some of these kids an opportunity to attend a baseball camp that will never be able to go to Lubbock or Texas Tech or WT. So we had about 55 kids, and they're not all showed here, but we had about 55 kids participate in our baseball camp. And
That's great.
Coach Cole was very, very excited and did us a very good job in putting together that tournament, or that camp, excuse me. He's leaving, but Coach Boatman's going to step up and fill his shoes
That's
as far
great.
as.
So that's something that'll continue.
Yeah. Something else that we've done this year, and this is part of our request for funding, is we've added field conditioner to the major field to improve the quality of the infield. That field conditioner does a few things. It increases infiltration when we have a rain. That's been a big. We've tried to keep the field, as you can see in that picture on the right, we've tried to keep the field really green, which is good in one hand, but it's a double-edged sword in that there's no room for any rain to go. I mean, we're at nearly saturation. So we get rain, it all ponds in the infield. So we purchased 8,000 pounds or 160 bags of field conditioner, which is it's like the consistency of kitty litter, but it's a clay-based type of material that you spread out on the infield, and you can see there on the right that again, those 10 guys got together and we spread those bags out and tilled them in 4 inches, and then we came back and top dressed with about a quarter of those bags. So the condition of the infield was suitable, or is suitable now for tournament play, and it's something that we're real proud of. Other activities, we created a Facebook page this year, and now that the internet's working, I hopped up here and logged in. As far as what our Facebook page looks like, and this provides us an avenue, excuse me, an avenue to reach parents that may not be in close contact with the coach, or not really have a good way of staying in contact with what Muleshoe Youth Baseball is doing. But it also gives us an outlet for posting pictures and kind of just giving the community an opportunity to see what Muleshoe Youth Baseball is doing. Let me just start back at the bottom, the oldest post. The picture on the left is at our rookie invitational tournament, and let's see here. At this particular tournament, I don't know if you've been to the field lately, but that whole parking lot there on the left was completely full of cars and had a couple of RVs that people had brought in. So it's kind of neat to get to see the number of people that came out to just watch the tournament. And here is some of our board members. When I was mentioning the rain has nowhere to go because our dirt, our soil is saturated essentially because we try to keep it green. This is us about 9 o'clock Saturday morning, trying to get the water to dry up. And so we raked it. If you see in the background, that's Heath Edwards. He has a gas can, and there's a little bit of fire there. So, working with Coach Cole, who had done this before at the fields at Randall when he was the assistant baseball coach there, pour a little gas on the surface and light it and try to get the water to evaporate quickly, and it did work. We were able to get started.
And that's,
I didn't.
But that's Kevin Morris in the red, Heath Edwards, and Woody Villa there working with us to try to get that field ready for the rookie invitational tournament. We did have to delay it an hour because it was pretty wet, and it took us a little while to get it dry. Let's see. There's our camp. And here's a picture of the baseball field after that first big rain that we had. I don't know, this is standing in the parking lot, and where that mouse is the T-ball dugout, which the bench was completely covered in water. And we were supposed to play the next day.
Good problem to have, though.
It was a good problem, no one's complaining. But it actually receded, and we didn't have to delay any games. Now, when we did start playing, this whole area was still muddy, and the minor field, which is on the right-hand side, which you can't hardly see, did still have some muddy spots in the outfield, but we did get to play. The rookie invitational tournament, these are pictures. And another thing that our Facebook page allows us to do is to connect with other towns and let them, when they come to play, allows them to kind of see the bracket and see pictures of their kids. Our third place team's here on the left. Dumas's second place team is here, and Levelland's first place team is there. So it gives those towns an opportunity to come and or to have a place to come see pictures from the tournaments. And here you can see that we've started posting the brackets for the teams, and that's been really helpful. For instance, when these teams, here are those teams that come to play in the minor state tournament.
That's one that's going on right now. So
Right.
these are the ones that are participating.
Yeah. Oh, and Pampa, I didn't mention Pampa, but Seminole. And I'm not sure where High Plains is. I think High Plains is a group of little towns somewhere Post area, maybe, Louisiana. I think it's just a group of little towns that got together to play some baseball. So I'm not real sure. At least I'm not familiar with the community called High Plains. So anyway, those are the teams that are here participating in this tournament. But we posted the brackets, and
Is that all week this week?
it started on the 5th, and it will
Okay.
end tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Wow.
And what we've done here is just kind of continue to post updated pictures of the bracket for these people that are out of town. I know I've had.
And they know when to come.
And they know when to come. They can kind of see what the other teams are doing, and
That's a great idea.
it gives them a chance to kind of, even though they're 150 miles away, they can kind of still know what's going on in the tournament. Here's some of the softball girls. This is the 10-year-old, 10 and under All-Stars that we didn't host their tournament, but they played in Levelland. And to talk a little bit about softball, Muleshoe Youth Baseball has been baseball up until this year, baseball only. Well, the softball league was having some issues with administration last year, and the lady that was in charge of that pretty well had just said, I'm ready to turn that over. So we as a board said, we'll administer your league along with our baseball league and charter all under Cal Ripken. And so we're chartered and insured as for our softball and our baseball teams, all under Cal Ripken. And here we are. This was a picture I took this morning. We just had Chad Bell come out and redo the press box, the exterior. It was getting pretty shabby, and considering that we were going to have quite a few folks come from out of town to see our facilities, we wanted it to be presented well, and so we invested some money there and had him redo that. And this is the temporary fencing that Ramon has let us borrow. And we've basically fenced off. The reason for the fencing, I guess that's an important thing to start with, is we do get to collect a gate fee. There is no, when you host a district or a state tournament, there is no entry fee for the teams. So the way Cal Ripken, or what Cal Ripken allows to happen is they allow you to collect a gate fee. And it's a one-time fee. It by no means covers our cost. And it's a one-time pass. I think they stamp their hand or wear a bracelet, and it's good for the whole tournament. So
How much is that pass?
I was afraid you were going to ask me.
Sorry.
I think it's $5 for adults and $3 for 13 and under, somewhere in there
And it's for the whole tournament or just for the day?
for the whole tournament.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Let me jump back.
Very. Very.
Let me jump back here. There again, the press box has been redone on the major field, and I think something that all 10 of us as board members take a lot of pride in is having the opportunity to teach our youth not just baseball or softball, but how to be a team player in life. That's what this is all about. It's not about baseball or it's not about softball. It's about helping these kids find direction and becoming productive citizens. And so we take a lot of pride in that. So, is there any questions?
No, very impressive. Thank you for putting all
Well,
that together.
I appreciate-
I did learn a lot.
I appreciate y'all allowing us to have an opportunity to come and show what Muleshoe Youth Baseball is up to, and that we're doing a good job. We're trying. So,
I think it's great that you're sponsoring the tournaments and bringing those people into town, and it's a great thing for our community. I
Yes,
think
sir.
y'all should be congratulated because of the board that you have and proactive and
well,
hardworking.
we are proactive, especially in the sense that with a fluid board like this, it's real easy for that type of the quality of board members to fluctuate, for lack of a better term. But we've kind of all agreed amongst ourselves that we're gonna continue to pass this on to somebody that takes as much pride in it as we do. There's some guys that have older kids that are getting off the board or kind of pulling back, and there's some guys like myself that have these little kids that are wanting to take a bigger role. So that's something that we sure take pride in is it allowing this to continue from year to year. So that we can have an opportunity to work with the city or any other partner in doing some bigger and better things. So we look forward to it. So thank y'all.
I think that's great because I understand, that some of us have been involved in baseball in the past, and we understand this, what the quality of your board can do for the whole association and how hard y'all have to work to do fundraisers and to make a million different things
Oh, yeah.
that you have to take care of. And I think that
Exactly.
the strength of your board really indicates how strong your program is. Lord, we really commended for that.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'll be sure to pass it on to everyone else too. And on that same note, we've had the opportunity to have some trustees come out and volunteer their time. But if the city ever has an opportunity for somebody to do volunteer work, either somebody needing community service hours, send them my way. Yeah.
You'll take
That's
them.
good.
I will find them some time to donate. So.
One more question.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you all planning to try to have a tournament on this level every year? Or?
That is our goal. We've been successful since I've been involved, which is this year and last year.
Mhm.
We had a district tournament last year. We were fortunate enough to have a state tournament this year. And one thing that is considered is the quality of the facilities. For instance, like Lamesa and Legoland, those places have built new complexes. And so, of course, they get to host quite a few tournaments because of the quality of their facilities. And that's what we're trying to do, is to find avenues for us to better since it's not a city park, and this is a conversation that David and I have had, since this isn't a city park, we're really on our own. And so to find different avenues for funding, for partnerships, for whatever, we've got that to face. I mean, we're faced with finding those types of funding sources, and which will influence whether we get to continue to host these tournaments. And that's our goal, is to make this all better, to continue to have tournaments, to continue to make this fun for the youth, and just continue to make it better. So
How far in advance are you told when that you've been chosen?
that process starts in about January. The first district meeting is in January, and you pretty well know by February, March as to whether you're gonna have a tournament. Now, in this case, as I mentioned, we knew that we weren't gonna have a district tournament. We knew that earlier, and it wasn't until about a month. Well, actually, it wasn't until David and I, we didn't know that we were gonna have this state tournament until after y'all's last meeting. That's why this wasn't on the agenda for last time. So there wasn't much notice in this state tournament. We knew for a while that we weren't gonna have a district tournament back in February, March, but this state tournament fell in our lap pretty quick. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank y'all.
I know the mayor will remember, and some of you may remember, that in years past, we met back in 2004, council adopted policy because of some of the expenses we were spending at adult softball tournaments, which kind of falls under a little different category than the scope of this tournament does. But under that sporting goods section, and I printed part of that out, that some of the summer EML, for cities our size, who has a sporting event where most of the participants come from out of town and have a significant impact on the motel industry, that it qualifies for those expenses. And it doesn't have to all be promotional and advertising. It's the expenses required to put that event on.
So it all goes under that umbrella of just the
So in
sporting
this case,
event.
and actually, I did some research, and the Attorney General's opinion, it pretty much said the council determines what's an appropriate expense under this item. So the total request is for $6,050 for the two tournaments.
And how are we financially in that?
We're fine.
Good. I'll make a motion that we approve Muleshoe Baseball Incorporated request for hotel motel funds to, the amount of $6,050.
For the amount of that, or up to that,
Up to that.
based on
their application
receipts.
for those
Yeah.
funds.
What is the receipts?
Receipts.
Yeah.
Do copies of checks. Can we?
You just bring me what you got, we'll bring it back down.
Okay.
And I'll second that motion.
Are there any other questions or discussion?
Can't think of a better way to spend it.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Again, we want to thank you for your presentation. Appreciate for your involvement in the community and in the baseball program.
Well, glad to help. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank y'all.
The next thing on our agenda
Okay.
is to receive the investment summary and financial statement for the quarter ending June 30th.
I'll work on it.
Trust
Thank
is
you.
all
Appreciate it.
review that line by line, and I'll make a motion that we approve their investment summary.
I'll second that.
We have a second. Is there any discussion? Not all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carries. Next thing on our agenda is the administrative reports. David?
Well, I'm sure the mayor and council want to add something to this, but wow, Muleshoe put on a great 4th of July, didn't you? They really did a good job. The only thing, I've really got a couple of things. Next Thursday night, the 11th. is- Oh,
I'm sorry.
it's the city swim party. The city summer party
I'm gonna move you in the park.
at the swimming pool.
All right.
So, what time does that start?
7 p.m.
7 o'clock? You're there, or you'll miss the River Smith. Are you willing the 16th? Miss it too. On the 16th, be movie in the park, the Muleshoe Youth Advisory Council will be putting on. That's gonna be at 9 o'clock, admission's free. They will have concessions for sale there. We watched the movie The Sandlot, since we're kind of in the baseball mood now. That's all I've got.
Cokes and popcorn to go
That's
with it.
right, that's exactly right.
Or something.
Yes.
All right.
Bring lawn chairs.
Just all the money that you guys might go, they just use
It's
the
going
money.
to the city.
Pay it back.
It'll be fun. It'll be a great time.
It's just an event to just come together as a community, appreciate our park, appreciate each other, fellowship, and just, you know, one of the ideas that was, the youth council came up with, love my city ideas. And, you know, that this is one way that we want to show that we love our city, is doing an event like this. Should be-
If we get the local paper and news media to push that for us, it will be good.
One other thing, Mayor, I'd like for the council to determine a date, maybe the last part of this month or the very first of next month, to have a budget workshop. Staff will have budget ready, we'll sit down and spend as much or as little time as council wants for budget. We'll have department heads here to answer any questions that they'll have.
Do you have any suggestions as to that date?
You know, the week of the 22nd is not a good week for staff. Other than
And
that,
I'll be gone.
We certainly want to do it then. so.
I'm thinking right after the first of the month.
That would be better. First of the month.
the first Monday, is it Monday, a better time for you to come over here?
Sometimes.
Sometime? Well, you're the ones coming kind of out of town that may be.
As long as it's, say, 6 or after,
We can do 7 o'clock. Yeah.
whatever,
That's-
everybody else.
That's not.
And
That
at
just
night
makes
is
it-
perfect. I
That
mean,
makes it easier for me.
7 is
So-
perfect.
The 5th,
August 5th would be great.
we'll pencil that in if for some reason that
That's a little bit,
7
Yes,
o'clock.
that'd be great.
That's all I've got, Mayor.
That's it? How about the rest of the council? Comments, news, flashes?
I attended the legislative briefing wrap-up last month, and so I'm going to leave here at City Hall everything that was reviewed. They just went over some of the bills. I made notes on some of the things that kind of pertain to us, but I did want to let everyone know that the Texas Municipal League, TML, does a great job of lobbying for us, protecting us, making sure that cities still have control over what happens. And so they do a lot of lobbying, and they have a lot of great information. So I'll just leave this here, that way everybody has access to it. And I attended fishing day for a few hours, and that was awesome. It was really great. It's amazing, everybody out there, and just utilizing our park, utilizing
We had
Lake Muleshoe.
87. There was one big fish that got away that day. In fact, the guy fell in the water trying to
Oh
get
my
the fish
gosh.
out.
He was soaked.
But there's about 5 or 6 guys still trying to catch that fish.
And they know it's still in
Pretty
there.
often.
The big one that got away.
Well, how big a fish are we talking about?
Oh, you can't imagine.
And here we go.
He pulled this guy in the water.
Now, this is not fish like,
I know this is right here.
There are times late in the evening, just before dark, you can see that thing swimming around out there with a fin sticking out.
There were 2 fish caught on the youth fishing day that went over 20 inches.
That's good.
That's a lot of
It's
fish.
great.
A lot of fish between 14 and a half and 17 inches.
But the looks on the faces of those children,
Oh.
even when the little bitty ones, and they just thought, look what I caught, and then to bring it up there, that's just, you can't put a price on that.
Yeah,
That was a great event. Great.
it's a lot of fun.
I wanted to thank Ramon. He took me out to the wastewater treatment facility, and I saw everything, and it's very interesting.
Muffin muncher and
And everything. I
Did
saw
he show you
muffin
the screw
muncher.
box?
I saw everything. I mean, it was great. It was really great, and just, it's fascinating to see how everything works, everything that needs to be checked, all the instruments, how it needs to be run, all the tests that need to be run, and so thank you so much for taking your time out to do that, and I learned a lot, I really did, and it just makes me appreciate more so everything that everybody does. So, and then also, I just wanted to thank Austin Ashley and Samantha Reyna again for their efforts at the pool and taking care of their training and being serious on their job and helping this little girl. That was phenomenal.
We had a good group of kids, of young folks working at the swimming pool, and they do pay a lot of attention.
You did good work.
We did have an incident that could have gotten really bad, but it didn't.
Everybody's okay.
Everybody's great.
Anybody else?
Okay.
Again, yeah, we want to congratulate the community. I mean, the Chamber of Commerce did a super job with the parade. They had lots of good comments on the parade. We had wonderful festivities all day long.
Fireworks were awesome.
Lots to eat, lots of things to do, lots of shopping, and the fireworks were the best I've ever seen. They did a super job. And it was just a great day in the city. So I want to thank everybody for making that fun. Anybody else anything? If not, then we are adjourned. Code of conduct, I think everybody's had time to look at it since last month, and if those of you that would like to sign it, we're gonna go ahead and sign it, and then we'll put it on the wall over there to replace the old one. And if any of the city would, any of the members, any of the residents of the city would like to see what that code of conduct says, you're welcome to come by City Hall and take a look at it. And we as council and members take that to heart and hope to be examples for the community. Thank you.
Mayor, Matt, you said, invited the citizens to come by and look at that, and they're certainly welcome to. It's also on our webpage.
Right, good.
And it will be updated.
Most everything's on the webpage. We encourage
That's
everybody to
good.
use that.